Look, I wish I could tell you that art is always fun, but I'd be lying to you. And that's why you need to hear this really honest, sincere outlook on this while you watch me draw this. Sometimes art just sucks. And I know you experience this too. And that's why by the end of this video, I want to help you navigate these feelings so that you stay with your art. Now to kick this one off, why am I making this video? Am I trying to promote negativity? Am I trying to dissuade you? Or am I trying to go ahead and create some rage dump video where I just tell you how I'm quitting art and this is it and it's over, I don't want to do it anymore, I want to get some attention and views on YouTube for that stuff? No, not at all, my friend, not at all. And the reason why I'm making this video is because of the fact that I hear this all the time from artists, and I hear a lot of artists say this with a sense of guilt, with a sense of shame. Like, you're not supposed to feel this way. Like, the fact that you've lost some level of passion for your artwork means that you have failed as an artist. And I want to let you know, friend, this is such a common experience for you where you're struggling with the fact that it's not that fun anymore, or that the piece that you're working on, you've lost all your passion for it. And I come to this from the perspective of somebody who's been teaching art for 15 years and someone who's been a freelance artist for the last decade too. And that's why, again, if you've never met me, my name is Sean. Welcome to the Art Mentor. I want to present to you these cages for fun that you are always going to feel locked in every single time that you make art. And everyone experiences these. So let's talk about it so that we can unveil the shame and instead just see it for what it is. First off, let's start off with what happens when you're just starting out. And if you're a new artist, if you're somebody who's trying to establish themselves, or how about if you're just trying to get better, you're gonna feel like nothing you do is good. You're gonna feel like all of that hard work and effort that you're putting into it is not amounting to anything. Your artwork still isn't that great, and your artwork still isn't as good as the people that you want. And we'll talk about all those things today too, because I know how you're thinking and feeling about these. And so naturally then you're gonna say, well, Sean, I just don't feel that confident in my work. I don't feel like I have any type of measure for actually succeeding in this. And we'll talk about what does that mean today too, by the way. And so I just wanna lay this out for you. It's natural for you to feel that way. Here's the reality. Confidence follows proficiency. You never feel good about anything in life until you've gained a certain level of proficiency with it where you can say, I feel confident in it. Also, just to put it out there, but being confident is also a bit of a choice. There is no person in this world that is born confident. In fact, I can also argue it this way, is that you're actually born with more confidence and then it gets hammered out of you through your conditioning, through your parents, through your life experiences, and you have to kind of rediscover that. But speaking specifically with art now, it's natural for you not to feel good about your artwork. It's natural for you, when you're starting on a new piece, for you not to know how it's going to turn out. But here are some things that you can definitely latch on to. You can definitely look at how your process is going to inspire confidence and how you know it will come out. Every piece that you make will inspire confidence in the next piece too. And here's a big one too for you. Are you finishing your work? Because if you're not finishing your work, then you're teaching yourself to not be confident in it. You actually need some type of evidence to say, I can do this. If you're not giving yourself that evidence, that's why you don't feel confident. It's because you're not building the proficiency towards it. And when I say proficient, just to be clear, I don't mean mastery. I don't even mean the 10,000 hours to be a master. I'm just saying that you haven't built it up enough to where you start to feel a little bit okay with it. But if you're not feeling okay because you're not confident in it, just understand this. You need to start to build that evidence in you, and that will take a little bit of time, friend, but you'll get there. Moving on, here's a really common roadblock, and I feel this all the time too, all right? Especially if you ever invest into a program or if you're trying out something new. Do you ever feel like until you started to do that new thing, you would just blaze ahead? Like you kind of knew what you were doing. You felt really sure. And this might be like, oh, well, you got some critique, you got some feedback. For myself personally, like when I started enrolling in mentorships, I started to notice that every single time that I would receive feedback and then I would apply it, I would be sitting there at my computer like, man, this is taking me forever. And I see a lot of artists therefore start to say that, like, Sean, I don't feel like I'm making good progress and I'm taking forever in trying to get better or to do this new thing. And the way I want to let you understand this better, friend, is as such. That is actually how it works. Because scientifically speaking here, when your brain is going to learn something new, you're actually going to experience this effect. You're going to experience a backslide. And what that typically means is that when you start to learn some new process or you start to integrate something that you normally don't, is that actually you're gonna feel yourself literally start to go backwards in your time management. You're gonna feel yourself very confused. You're gonna feel yourself questioning everything. And all of those experiences are actually just the product of you learning how to level up. Because in doing that, just for example, like as I've gotten feedback on some of my works, and I got some great tips from my mentors, and it really helped me long term, but short term, you feel like you go slower. And that's just because of the fact that you are questioning and you're bringing up new questions and you're going to compare it against what the feedback was or what the new thing that you're trying to do is. And that's normal because your brain has to catch up, because your brain has to develop, because your brain has to fire in different ways and in different directions than it normally would. And that takes time. So learning does take slower time frame, and that does tend to suck. But here's just the light at the end of the tunnel, friend. At the end of that, like once you learn how to do that, you evolve your thinking. Like I can also put this into my own experience right now too and tell you that like through working with the people that I've worked with, and then also going through the experiences of getting the feedback that I needed to hear, I now like kind of adopt the way that they think and I go much faster now. But in you learning how to speed up, you're always going to slow down first, and then you'll catch right back up and exceed what you used to do. How's that sound? Next, let's talk about the fact that everything takes a super long time to do, right? So for you who wants to stay passionate with your art, you're probably constantly struggling with the fact that it's not fast and it's not coming out exactly the way you wanted to, exactly the time frame that you wanted to. Because of that, obviously, we have to now tackle the fact that art has a very long time frame to it. This is in terms of you actually achieving what you want to, or you building the project that you want to. Maybe you have a great comic, maybe you want to bust into freelancing, maybe you just want to get better, maybe you're trying to emulate your favorite artist right now. And are you feeling frustrated that like it's not looking the way it should right now and that it's not coming out as fast as you want? Maybe you sat down for 2 hours and you're like, wow, I'm gonna do all these things. And then by the end of those 2 hours, you're like, I did a nose. Has that ever happened to you? Because I've been there too. And so listen, it's not fun when you start to realize and you ponder over the fact that it's going to take a long time. And just to be brutally honest with you, because you need to hear it, friend, everything will take longer than you expect. That is just a life lesson I want to share with you right now. But especially with your art, it's very common for you to put these constraints and say, oh, I'll finish it up in this week. And then 4 weeks later, you're still working on it. And that's normal. Again, especially if you're learning something new or you're working with somebody or you're receiving feedback or working on a project for somebody else, like we'll talk about throughout this video. That is very normal. And the thing that I really want to challenge you on and to bring to light here is the fact that you're not frustrated with your art. You're frustrated with your FOMO, because literally in every single moment that you're fighting the timeline on this, I just want to ask you, like, what are you supposed to be doing anyways? See, it's when we get those invasive thoughts, then it really starts to wreak havoc with our artistic process and how we feel about our art process too. And that's what I want to bring to light for you right now, because most of the time it's not about your art, or you don't really care that it's going to take more time for you to make that artwork or to make that project. You're fighting what you're not doing at the same time. And so just to put this out there too, if it's going to take a long time for you to do it, well, isn't it great for you to do something that's worthwhile versus something that's mind-numbing? Because let me just put this out there for you too. You are doing something that is extraordinary. You're doing something extremely powerful. You're being a creator. And we are all born to be creators, but 99% of people train themselves out of being the role of being creator because our world is favorable more to consumers of everything, but not you, friend. So don't let that FOMO frame of mind distract you away from it, all right? Now it's time to go ahead and launch into some freelance struggles. So tell me, are you somebody right now who's working with clients? So are you somebody right now who's working a job in art too, and you have to work with an art director, you have to take directions from other people, right? And what do you have to do? You have to utilize their scope, you have to make what they want, and you have to do it to their satisfaction and their specifications and not your own. And the biggest issue that I tend to see that this runs up against is that you thought, hey, if I could make money from my art, that would be so fun. But now that you're in the thick of it, you're like, this isn't fun at all. This is not what I want. I want to do what I want to do. Do you share this opinion too? And I see a lot of freelancers run up against this. And I've seen so many videos where people are like, don't freelance and don't take commissions and all that stuff. And I want to put this to bed right now. If you're feeling this way, here is how you stop feeling that way and how you combat it. Ladies and gentlemen, please hear me out very well on this. If you're feeling like you're not having fun with your clients, with their scopes, and with your projects, it is your fault because you're not doing anything that has ownership of it. Yes, I understand a client gives you a scope and they give you parameters and they might give you some revisions. But listen, if you don't own anything in that, that's why it's not fun anymore. And guess what? Now you just traded doing one job for doing another. And the last thing you want is for your artwork to turn into like the creative version of working at Chick-fil-A on the weekend as an extra job, because you don't want that and you don't deserve that, and it can be so much better than that. So here are my suggestions that I literally use all the time. First off, put something that is really interesting to you in every single artwork, or latch onto just one thing. If you're just like, man, I really like the colors on this, latch onto that so that it's fun for you. Latch onto something new too. If you're only doing exactly what the client wants all the time too, that's extremely boring for you. And of course it's not gonna be fun. But if you're putting in something new that you're learning how to do, something that you haven't done or you haven't succeeded at before, this is how you can reinvigorate that too. And this is how you can sustain yourself, speaking, by the way, as somebody who's been a freelancer for over a decade. And by the way, if you want to learn more about freelancing, definitely go ahead and hit that like and subscribe, because you will find no greater wealth of being an artistic freelancer on this YouTube platform than right here, my friend. And if you're feeling like this is just not fun anymore, then maybe you want to take a good look at, hey, what are you doing to combat that? Next, I want to go ahead and make a very bold prediction on why most people in this world are not artists. Because if you've never really known this, like literally only 1% of the entire global population would be classified as an artist. And then an even smaller fraction of that would be classified as a professional artist. And I've really studied this phenomenon a lot. And I want to go ahead and present to you my version of why I think this happens based on my evidence, based on my experience, based on my research. Here we go. It is simply because of the fact of what you're doing and what you have to put yourself through while you're being an artist. It actually has nothing to do, surprise, surprise, has nothing to do with whether or not you enjoy it or you're getting the accolades that you want, you're getting the money that you want. It has nothing to do with the quality of your artwork. But it has everything to do with this, the mental battle that you were experiencing throughout your process. Because listen, here's a big thing that you really want to wrap your brain around. While you are creating artwork, your brain is literally slowing down and you are fixated and focusing on exactly what you're doing. And it's a state that we don't enter enough nowadays. It's a state that more people need to embrace, and honestly, they can't. Like, just as a perfect example, does being bored bother you? Because being bored is honestly one of the biggest superpowers in this 21st century, because your brain slows down and what happens? You actually start to think. You think about things come up, you get these thoughts in the back of your head that just launch forward. And guess what? That's exactly what happens when you're making art. You are battling literally your own insecurities and your own demons. And so because of that, what's challenging all this is this constant need for stimulus. You need this quick dopamine hit, and you need to be distracted, and you need to watch this, and you need to do that. And all of that is honestly some of the most damaging experiences for your brain. But when you're in this process of making art, while sometimes it's not fun, what I really want to lay on you, if you haven't figured this out by now in this video, is that it's got nothing to do with your art. It's always something to do with your human. And the thing I'm always telling people is that you can't separate the art from the artist. And while you're creating artwork, you're going to think about some of the things that have happened to you. You're going to think about some of the struggles that you're going through. You're going to think about, and it's going to trudge up a lot of insecurities about your potential. Oh, I don't think I can do it. I don't think that I'm special enough. I didn't start early enough. I'm too old for this. I only make this much. I want to make that much. And I just want to put that out there, is that while you're going through that process of making artwork, literally every reason for you to stop making just invades you. And your ability to push through and rise above what you're currently feeling and every reason you have to quit is gonna give you a tremendous source of power. All right, this next bit, I really wanna go ahead and talk about one of the worst versions of your art that you are always going to encounter, and it's the ugly parts. Do you struggle with this? Do you all of a sudden lose motivation the second it doesn't look good? Do you think that, oh man, this looks so good as a line art. Oh my God, what happened when I put color onto this? Wow, this character looks so great. And then I started to render it, and now you're like, whoa, that's a big steaming dog turd right there. And I don't think I created that. It's almost like somebody else did it and you started it and then they butchered it, right? And so this part is what I lovingly call the ugly phase. And when you're in the ugly phase, y'all, it's not fun. I just want to put this out there too. In case there's anybody in this video thinking this, like if you're somebody right now who's like, wow, art is always fun for me. It's always an enjoyable experience. And I'm going to call you out. I say BS. No, it's not. Here's really the point. If you are only doing what you're comfortable with, only doing it to the point that you are familiar with, and only doing the things that you want to do, the reason why it's so fun is that you're not challenging yourself and you're not growing either. You have to put yourself through things that are discomforting and going to be outside of your current comfort zone in order to actually experience growth. And the ugly phase is the most beautifully horrendous version of that, you see? And so like, even as you're watching me do the speed paint right now, like I go through thousands of ugly phases, thousands of times where I'm like, I hate this. This doesn't look good. And this area over here, it's not done yet. And oh, I thought that looked good, but oh, it doesn't. And we'll talk about that in a minute too, by the way. And the thing I want to let you know, friend, is that the ugly zone is literally the representation of your limit as an artist. And what I mean by that is simply such. It's your limit to how much you're willing to push through it, how much you're willing to actually apply and learn. What do you have to do to supersede this? The other thing you might want to think about too is when you hit the ugly zone, like the whole thing isn't ugly. It's usually one or two pieces of it at a time. And if that's the case, work on it a little bit and then work on something else and then come back to it and go to something else. Like just as an example, as you're watching my artistic process, I usually work in waves and I give everything the same level of treatment. And I learned over time, I have to accept how it looks. And that's not the focus of it. I shouldn't focus on what sucks. I should focus instead on just making progress, just putting in the time, just applying the effort to it. And you might be like, well, Sean, I'm putting in the time and putting in the effort and it's not getting better. I'll talk to you about how to fix that up in a minute too. And so the thing I want to let you know though is that this is inherent in every artistic medium. This is also inherent, by the way, in just everything you do in life. The thing I usually tell my students very jokingly, I'm like, listen, if you expect everything to look perfect, you're not perfect in every single process too. At one point in your mom's womb, you were wicked ugly, all right? And now you've come out looking the way that you have, hopefully a little less ugly. But the complete base truth of this is that you have to enter the ugly zone willingly, and you also are able to exit it powerfully. And the more that you resist that discomfort of just working yourself through it and figuring out, is you also denying your potential, friend. You see that? Incoming relatable experience for you all now. How many times have you sat down, you worked on something, you had this fantastic idea, it's beautiful, right? It's a beautiful baby, then you're just birthing it right there. And then what happens? It doesn't go the way you planned. It doesn't go how you expected it. I wanted it to look like this, now it's looking like this. I had this great idea and it's just not coming out that way. You experience that too? And I've gone through this thousands and thousands of times, okay? And that's why this big roadblock is how you are going to handle your expectations. And listen, here's a better way that I've kind of learned how to reframe this for you. Borrow this, please. Your expectations are just your launching point. They're your ignition, okay? They're your start. They're the kindling to your fire. They are not how that comes out in the end. So just to put this into perspective, one of the things that I really find very challenging for a lot of artists, especially developing artists, is that they'll have this fantastic idea, fantastic plan, fantastic sketch. And then as they start to render it, or they start to sculpt it, they start to paint it, they are met with and fraught with new challenges. They expected it to go this way, and then they didn't expect these to be so hard. They didn't expect this part of it to be so challenging. And here's where I want to go ahead and shift your mind. You need to understand that once you create that artwork, once you start that artwork, it has taken on a life of its own. And very much like in a relationship, you have to make compromises, my friend, because you're fighting the fact that it needs to be fun and it's not turning out and it was such a fun idea and now it's not because of the fact that it can't be fun or it can't come out to a great result, but because of the fact that your expectation of it was so lofty and so high. You're not giving it the opportunity to breathe. And it's very much like, here's a good way for you to think about it. Think about like if you have a child, right? You might have these great expectations for how they're going to be and what they're going to do, and they're going to be just like you or better than you, whatever. And then when they actually come to life, you can't steer them. You can't direct them 100% and make them do everything you want them to do. You have to respect who they are. You have to respect who they're becoming. And you have to support what that is. So for you and your artwork, yeah, it might not be 100% what you expected to do, but what if instead you just went with it a little bit? What if you made little compromises with it? Because that will lower your expectation a little bit so that you can actually realize it in an even better way than you might have expected. How's that? Moving on. Now, speaking as somebody who's been through art school, who's been in professional working environments, who's been collaborating with other artists, and who mentors artists too, one of the biggest struggles that you're constantly going to deal with is the fact that there's always somebody better than you. You ever feel like that too? Do you ever feel like every single time that you put your artwork out there on Instagram, or you put your artwork out there on a Reddit, or you put your artwork out there on a Discord channel? Do you have those people that just put out work extremely fast and way more proficient than yours? Like it's so funny to me. I've always had it where in my classes, like everybody acknowledges like one or two people, or in Discord servers where everybody kind of like silently acknowledges like this one person, or they've even said to me like, oh man, what about so-and-so? They make me feel bad about myself. And I've been like this too. And I just want to let you know straight up, just to destroy any illusion you might have about me here, in case you have this. I've never been the best artist in any particular area I've ever been in, okay? I've never been the best in school, and even on the internet, I'm not the best, all right? And if you want to help me out with that, again, you know how to support this channel. But when you start to do this, and when you start to feel bad about yourself, when you start to think that your artwork is not fun because there's always somebody better than you, this is just a great understanding to approach life with. There will always be somebody better than you. But somebody being better than you is not the point. That's not the point in you being a human being. It's not the point in you being an artist, friend. The point is for you to make the best out of you, and to make the best out of your visions, and to make the best out of your experiences. Because while somebody might be more proficient or better at rendering, or they might be faster than you, they're never going to be better than you at being you. So what are you doing right now, artistically speaking, that's going to bring that out? What are you doing to go ahead and focus on things that you like? And don't try and run someone else's race either. Like, just as an example, I used to really think I wanted to be an anime artist. Like, if you look at some of my earliest works on DeviantArt, like, it's super anime based. And then I kind of realized after a few years of going through this, I was like, this isn't really what I like. This isn't my zone of genius. This isn't what I'm capable of. I want to push myself into more semi-realism. And that's how I got into this point today. And the more that you resist being you, and the more that you put yourself on a pedestal versus somebody else, the longer it's going to take for you to kind of get off that pedestal and embrace who you really are, friend. And so are you doing this? Because if you are, you're really just running a race to oblivion. And you don't want to do that, because that's definitely not fun, is it? Moving on, I want to talk to you about the morning after pill you're taking. And obviously, last night, you had so much fun. You were getting into it, you're going at it, and you're making some amazing stuff happen, right? It was fireworks, it was a great time. And then you woke up the next morning and you popped that morning after pill. Wait, I'm sorry. What do you think I'm talking about? I'm talking about, obviously, when you wake up in the morning and you look at your artwork that you were so proud of the night before, and you don't feel so proud anymore. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever experienced this too? Where you pull it up on your phone if you saved it to your Dropbox, or like if you just happen to boot up your computer and you check it out and you're just like, whoa, woof. That's not what I expected. That's not what I thought it looked like last night. Oh my God, I had this great idea. And then I thought that this is what it was. Oh my God, but what the heck is this? And then all of a sudden you get this rush of just like absolute shame and pity for yourself, right? And so here's the thing that I want to let you know is that this is very typical for you. And why is that? Because And so just from like a cognitive perspective, your brain is so hyperfixated throughout the process on doing the task that you want to. And oftentimes what you don't do enough of, especially like if you've worked really late into the night, gone to bed, woken up, and then experienced this horror show, is that you never step back enough for it. And you didn't allow the actual work to rest so that you can see it with fresh eyes and a new perspective. And so that's also why, by the way, if you're like, oh my God, this is so not fun, I just want to let you know, like, it's natural for you and your brain, while you're going through that process, it's going to evolve. It's going to think in new patterns. It's going to develop new strategies for you. And you're going to, of course, respond to what you just did. And that's part of the process, okay? That's part of what you should expect. And that doesn't mean that it's not fun. It's just that, let's just kind of reframe it like this, y'all. What if we looked at that as like, oh wow, here's a new set of problems for me to know so that I know how to do this even better. Because one of the things that I've realized, both as being an art mentor and then also too, working with other art mentors, is that the reason that if you were to ever work with somebody and like they'll just paint over your work, or like I'll paint over my mentee's work for like 20 minutes and they'll be like, oh my God, this is so much different and so much better. You made this so much clearer, Sean. It's just simply because of this. I've encountered more problems and different problems than a lot of other artists. And my mentors have encountered even more than that too. And so that's why it's so valuable for you to have that experience, because you're solving problems throughout the artistic process. You're not trying to make a solution. You're trying to literally just encounter problems and then succeed upon them. Different from what you've heard before, right? But if you started to view it like that, you'll have a lot more fun by the end of it. Now, one of the biggest, ugliest parts that you will 100% encounter is the fact that this next one is gonna rear its ugly head. And that's that you're not gonna know what to do. Do you feel that way right now? Do you feel completely lost? Do you feel completely bewildered? I thought I was good at this. I'm not so good at it. Did you get some feedback? And you're like, well, I felt great about this until that happened, until they said this. And then you enter this unknown zone and you're like, oh man, like, I don't know how to level this up. I don't know how to make this look good. I don't know how to do this lighting effect. I don't know how to do these special effects. I don't know how to make this composition work. Have you encountered this? Because me too, hundreds of times. And this is again where you're gonna be like, man, this is just not enjoyable anymore. I am just lost and confused and I feel stupid. And it's normal to feel stupid when you're doing something that you're not entirely proficient in either, or when you're learning how to be more proficient. And especially, y'all, here's a great way for you to understand this, is that understanding how to tackle that problem is literally the barrier to entry right before you succeed it and go into the next level, okay? Think of that as like the mid-boss, but so that you can go ahead and journey on to the next part of the dungeon, okay? And so the best way I can explain this to you, and the easiest way to present this to you, is that you need to typically at this time, you need to gather more resources. When you're feeling those roadblocks, your issue is not that you're stupid or you're untalented or that you have no potential or that your mom was right and you should have just gone into business instead. No, it's just simply this. You need more resources. So what is that right now? Do you need to go ahead and look up a tutorial or two or try that? Do you need to go ahead, here's a common one, look up references. Y'all, the amount of times I work with people that are dissatisfied with their work and I'm like, hey, show me your references. They're like, I have 3. I'm like, that's the problem. You should have a wealth of references. And if you want a video, by the way, on how to make this and how to make this an easier process, let me know down below in the comments, because I find that most artists have no idea what to get for the references and how to make this whole process easier. And that's honestly what kills their joy for it. And I've been cooking that idea up for a while, but tell me if that'd be interesting to you. And then here's a big power play too on that. Set a limit for how long you're gonna allow yourself to gather more resources or to watch a tutorial, or just put a limit on it. Be like, I'm gonna watch 3 tutorials on how to do eyes better, and that's it. And then I'm gonna apply it, because otherwise you're gonna get into this self-comforting zone of delusion where you're gonna think that like you researching is gonna do anything. And research is not work, my friend, okay? And so that's also gonna siphon your fun away. But if you're in this zone of like, oh, it's not fun because it's not anything I'm good at right now, well, let's apply a little bit more effort on our resource end of it so that we can at least feel a lot better, even if it's not exactly to the level that you expected it to. Moving on, let's talk about the fact that what are you doing and who are you with and what's your environment typically like when you're being an artist. And I don't think we talk about this enough, so I wanna go ahead and lay this out there for you. Because honestly, for myself personally, what am I doing? I'm alone, I'm in my office, I'm usually there late at night, or I'm doing it while I'm unbothered by other people and my kids are asleep and my wife's asleep. That's typically when I'm making my art. And the thing that really sucks about that is that art is a very solitary experience. Art is something that you do when usually no one else is around. And so the thing that you need to understand and why that's so tough for you and why that's also killing your fun is that humans are very tribal beings. We crave socialization. We need it to survive. And so if you're not taking part in any type of a community, or you're not actually trying to socialize any component, if you're just being a little artistic hermit, yeah, that can also kill your fun. And so one of the best things that I want to just promote for you right here is that you don't need to rely on this being a physical community. You don't need to rely on a physical space, y'all. You can do this in so many great online spaces. And so suggestions for you would be as such, like maybe you need to go and join some great Discord servers, people that are interested in things you are, or that weird sub-niche of stuff that only you like. I guarantee you, there's millions of other people around the world that also like that thing too. Maybe you need to go ahead and find a drawing buddy, somebody that you can compare notes with, somebody that you can grow with too. Maybe you need to go ahead and get yourself a mentor so that you're not going through this all alone. A lot of times, like when I work with people, they really enjoy the fact that they actually have another artist that they can talk to about their trials and tribulations, and I'm all there for it too. And so then too, like maybe you need to go ahead and maybe you want to create a little draw group for yourself. Or this is also why, by the way, like art school is so good and powerful for a lot of people. It's that socialization aspect. It's being in that environment. It's being in that atmosphere. And it can also be something that pushes you too, by the way, if it's art school or it's a class or just a general program that you're a part of, is the fact that you have other people that create this challenging atmosphere of competition, of healthy competition amongst y'all. And so if you're only going to be alone and you're not going to socialize and not talk to other people and not share your work, that can also really kill your joy. And we don't talk about that enough, but I really wanted to today. So is this you? And if so, what do you want to do about it? Now let's tackle a big topic at this point in this video because you hung in here so far. And I really want to bring this one to light because I've been dancing around it this entire video if you haven't figured this one out, and it's this. The fact that you could do so many other things and you're gonna feel like the fact that this is not fun for you. And I just wanna challenge that and say, is that really what you want? And so the best way I wanna put this into perspective is I wanna ask you, like, if you could not do art, what else would you be doing instead? And what would be more fun? I could go ahead and whip out my phone and play one of 9 million mobile games. I could go ahead and hop on my computer and watch infinite amounts of videos. I could go ahead and just digest everything. And so the best way I can present this to you is that you can do things in life that are fun, that are challenging, and that are rewarding. But you can't do things that are all three of them all the time. And so you usually have to pick two of them. And one of them is always gonna be left out. And if you seek reward instead of you seeking fun all the time, you are going to do something that is amazing and sustainable too. And so this also butts itself up against, though, what else could you be doing? And so another topic that I don't think a lot of you consider is, okay, let's say that you just throw in the towel. You just give up your art. Never again will you ever do that again. What are you gonna do instead? Is that really gonna be what you want? Or what if it's the worst mistake of your life? And to help you realize all this, I made this video for you right here. Go ahead and go check it out. And this help you share with something that you know. Thanks so much and see you next time.